Vols are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, August 21st. We're 11 days away from football season. We were talking to people yesterday. They were asking me, how is Tennessee this year? What's the win situation looking like? And I was just honest. I said, hey, I can't give you an opinion right now because it's going to be absurd because I'm too fired up. So I just stayed away from it.
That's fair. I just kept telling everybody we're going to be better this year than we were last year.
I like that response.
Yeah,
I do. I had a Kentucky fan tell me that he thinks Tennessee's going to win 10 games. It's the first time I've ever wanted a Kentucky fan to be right. So, you know, we're listen, if we win 10 games, I'll be ecstatic. Landon will be naked.
Yeah. Our boy Chris at the SEC Network, he had Kentucky winning 11 games and Tennessee winning 10 games. So, what world are we living in?
I think the SEC East may fall if that happens. Like completely collapse, like Rome, just gone in a day. That would be nuts. But it's been a good weekend. We had we finally, it felt like the build up to the Hacker Cup. I didn't know if we'd ever get there. We were just so excited. Yesterday was awesome. If you played in it, you obviously, stopped by 17, to our friends who came out and helped and had a good time and tailgated with us. It was awesome. I hope everybody saw the pictures, videos, all that good stuff from it and want to play in it next year. We'd love a big turnout for that. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. We were posting all day on the story, and it was a great time. We'll, be doing that for football season. It's a little bit easier to post on an Instagram story than Twitter, a bunch of times. Like pictures and videos at least. So,
right. Yeah.
So make sure you follow along there. And Landon, I think Landon is in mid-season tailgating form. He shotgunned a beer yesterday. Two beers yesterday. He was yugging, he was just slinging them and yugging them the whole day. So he's mid-season form. I was impressed.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun. I've set up a booth at 2 golf tournaments now. This one was definitely the most fun I've had. So not a lot to go off of, but it was a lot of fun yesterday, and getting to just talk ball with people during, something that they just love to do and playing golf. It's not something that I love to do yet. Caleb's trying to reel me in that direction, but I had a lot of fun. So if I'm definitely leaning more toward golf now from yesterday than I was before yesterday.
Absolutely. And everyone there was just awesome. Which, that makes it, people got to be good. Like you said, getting to talk ball and do that with them. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hope we see, if you're listening right now to tailgate, if you played yesterday, hope we see you at a tailgate. Hopefully that convinced you that we're fun people to be around and fun football fans. So don't come hang out. Shout out to Josh Tigner for getting closest to the hole. He'll be in the seats for the Missouri game. So yeah, it was an awesome day. I can't wait to do it again and maybe do more events like that, watch parties, stuff like that. Love getting to hang out with people that we talked about this, I think, in the Twitter space, like meeting Twitter friends. You talked about some people rolled up. Like I retweet you all the time. Like I know exactly who you are. So it was cool doing that.
Yeah, I think the highlight of the day for me was definitely the Georgia fan that walked up and saw the Jawan Jennings catching the Hail Mary over everybody sticker and just saying damn and walking away.
Hate that for him.
Yeah, I'm sure he would never trade the national championship for that, but that was a great moment for a Georgia fan. Also, I hate Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, I think
it's just
Georgia's
red.
Yeah, Georgia's becoming a more hated team because of that national championship. I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure they don't regret that. They're happy to be hated by me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was our preseason though. Essentially, and Landon, we know we were only going to keep Landon in for a quarter, and he played for all 4 because he was looking so good. You don't pull a guy when he's up, you know.
Yeah, the hot hand, man.
Exactly.
Keep feeding me the ball. So.
Ask the Browns. They lost today because they needed to see Josh Rosen for some reason.
Yeah, we not seen enough of Josh Rosen.
We've seen too much of Josh Rosen, I would argue.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Listen, I'm not saying you have to win a preseason game, but winning's better than losing, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty simple. Just Josh Dobbs, John Kelly. I mean, I don't know why you go away from that.
And we're going to blame it on Jimmy Haslam.
Yikes.
That's who we're blaming it on. Well, I guess let's get right into it. We got a lot of football to talk. It's 11 days away. We're about to be back in Neyland on a Thursday night, which is, we talked about as weird, but it is 2 weeks in a row, or 2 years in a row, excuse me. So maybe it's just, hopefully it doesn't become a normal thing. I don't want that. We talked about hate it, but.
Right. But we get it 2 days earlier. So not like now it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, I would wish it was this Saturday instead of having to wait till next Thursday. How about that?
Well, and I know, we're so close. I keep thinking like, yeah, I'll be back in Knoxville this week. Nope, I won't.
You could.
I could, but I like my girlfriend, so I like hanging out with her. I don't know if she'd come to Knoxville with me 3 weeks in a row. Let's not push our luck.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we won't do that. Quarterbacks, man.
Quarterbacks. I think
position.
It's weird because it's uncharted territory for Tennessee fans.
Mm-hmm.
We get a quarterback who's established and is the for sure QB1 going into the season, whereas last year you didn't have that. What were you going to say?
I just let's not call it uncharted. I don't want to have too short of a memory. I think we got burned so much lately. We do forget about the 16 season.
Yeah, but that was 6 years ago?
I know. I'm just saying. Okay. We watched the guy today that the last time. Like I said, I don't want to have too short of a memory. But you're right that the last 6 years have been rough. I don't disagree.
I was 21 years old. I was just able to drink the last time we had an established quarterback. So, yeah, even last season you didn't have that. I know you got a guy in Joe Milton who you trust, and apparently he's gotten better this offseason. So I think that is good that you have a good number 2. But this is Hendon Hooker's football team, and I think everybody in the locker room knows that. Everybody in the football facility, the athletic facility knows this is Hendon Hooker's football team, and he's the engine that's going to make them run.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not just Tennessee fans feeling more comfortable going into it. It's everyone in the locker room, players and coaches. It makes getting prepared for the season that you don't have that anxiety of who's going to carry this team, who's going to be the guy. And yeah, you're still trying to fill some positions, I'm sure, and maybe not starter roles, but I mean, when you look at the landscape of a team having to play in the SEC, you're trying to find out who's going to play behind Jabari Small. And I know we'll talk about some of that Sunday afternoon news here soon. You're trying to figure out some of that, but the most important position on the field, and that's a comfort for everyone in the locker room, not just fans. So this is exciting. And I, going back to kind of the Joe Milton point too, I think it's good for everyone. I mentioned everyone in the locker room. I think it's also good for guys like Joe Milton. Your role. Right now you're number 2. I'm sure he wants to be number 1. He gets to really work towards that with not a ton of pressure. I'm sure that's kind of helped the mental side of it. And it's just, hey, I get to improve, 1% every day. And maybe I will be the one, if you work towards that. Maybe I will be. If not, I'm next man up. And that's who I got to be. So I think that helps him too, knowing his role, even if it's not QB1.
Yeah, and I think Hendon Hooker gives you so much. He isn't a statue in the pocket. And, I think there's a kind of mantra that some of these running quarterbacks get is they're turnover happy. This guy had 3 interceptions last season. He's taking care of the football. He's also pushing it down the field. And when you're pushing it down the field, you tend to see a lot more interceptions. Well, not in Hendon Hooker's world. So I just think you have one of the top quarterbacks in the country. And I think that's what makes this team that's what makes people think Tennessee can win 10 or 11 games.
For sure.
Is because of Hendon Hooker.
For sure. And you mentioned him First off, I never want a QB to turn the ball over. If we could have a guy that had 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, sign me up. But it is, you talked about a guy that the running quarterback, mobile quarterbacks get that because I think a lot of times too, they maybe try too hard to make plays. I think that's a challenge for Hendon Hooker this year. You don't want to see turnovers, but maybe can you make – Tennessee's going to need some big-time plays and big-time games if you're going to win some of these – what we were calling split games right now, what the odds makers are calling split games right now, you're going to need big time plays. So the challenge is, can you make those big time plays and can you still not turn the ball over? That's the next step in Hendon Hooker's arc, I think. If we want to see, I agree with you that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Him not being, I think he was 23rd. That's absurd. I think that's about where everybody has
23rd and what?
Quarterback in the country.
Number 23. There's 22 quarterbacks.
Wasn't that when they listed the 3 LSU quarterbacks? Wasn't that what number he was? And then ESPN had him around the same mark. I think it had him a little bit lower. Way too high though. Like he was way too out of he's like you said, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Can we get whoever put him at 23 to call into the show? I would love to just pick their brain.
It was the guy
also maybe call.
Focused. I can't remember his name. You mentioned his name on the show. He needs to be
in a sane asylum because that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
if we want to sit here and say Will Levis is, probably going to be the top quarterback in the draft next year, if we're giving him that title, I mean, holy hell.
Yeah, and I don't think Will Levis is a bad quarterback, but to act like he's head and shoulders above Hendon Hooker is insane.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
It's absolutely insane.
So let's talk about Joe Milton a little bit. I mean, you never want to see your quarterback go down, but when you do have a running quarterback and a guy that, Hendon Hooker took a lot of shots last season, I'd like to see him slide a little bit more. I wouldn't hate that at all, but I love the passion also. So
yeah.
Double-edged sword. And I think when you have a guy that knows the offense, this was kind of going into last season. This was his team. Everybody thought that he beat out Hendon Hooker, and I guess he did, but in a kind of practice setting. I know it's different when a no contact jersey's on. Hendon Hooker just came out and he was a gamer, and he won you football games. So, having a guy like Joe that's able to, like you kind of mentioned, he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him. He can sit behind Hendon Hooker and kind of wait for his name to be called. I don't think there's a lot of teams in the country have the quarterback room or quarterback competition set up kind of like Tennessee does, where you have a number one guy, and if he goes down, I think you have a capable number two guy. It's not oh crap, this season's over. Like when Matt Corral went down and was it Luke Altmaier came in, everybody knew they're going to lose that game. I don't think you have that same issue when if Joe Milton has to come in.
I mean, I think I don't entirely.
You don't win 10 football games, but
right. I don't think so with what we know right now. I don't entirely disagree with that statement. I think you need to see a lot of growth. And I think the thing too is there were a lot of – I think we're forgetting there were a lot of issues with Joe Milton that there were with Hendon Hooker. I don't know if issues is the right word. Hendon Hooker missed on a lot of deep balls too. Maybe not at the same rate that Joe Milton did. And then one thing Joe Milton did, and it was just kind of opposite of Hendon Hooker, is Joe Milton would wait to throw the ball downfield longer rather than try to find yards with his legs. And it's just – but there were a lot of people that thought Hendon Hooker pulled the ball down too quickly. So it's just kind of this thing that I think there were some just – I think it was small with Joe Milton. I do. I mean, I think overthrowing the ball is a way better problem than not being able to get it there. You just got to find a way to rein that in. And then I think everyone would agree that was probably his biggest issue, because if he hits on those, you're not talking about him standing in the pocket too long. So,
and apparently he's worked on that quite a bit, and he's gotten a lot better. What we heard about Hendon Hooker last season was, or before the season, during the spring practice and fall camp, is he just checks it down too much. He's not pushing it down the field. Well, I think he kind of grew as the season went on, where he was able to trust those receivers, and they did a good job of getting past DBs, but it just kind of worked itself out. And then, Joe Milton getting better, I think that only pushes Hendon Hooker, and then Hendon Hooker, getting better, having another year in this offense. Apparently, it's going even faster than it was last season. So don't blink, I guess. So I just think.
Do you
it's
think
kinda
that's
worked out.
possible?
That you go faster?
How could it? Honestly, like I know they probably just feel better in fall camp. It probably does feel like it's going faster. How could it possibly be faster in games?
Man, I don't know. I don't know because it just seemed like every time that they were getting tackled, they're up and on the ball and going again. So like, is it just a split second faster? I don't know.
Hey, we just 1% better, 1% faster. Yeah, and I you talked about you don't want Hendon Hooker to go down with an injury, but it is just kind of one thing that could happen in a football game, and I mean that's how Joe Milton lost, if you want to call it lost QB1 last year. He goes down, Hendon Hooker comes in and never looks back. So I mean I think it'd be hard to come in for an injured Hendon Hooker and you dethrone him, but it's on the table. I mean, Josh Heupel is obviously going to go with the guy that's playing better, plain and simple.
Yeah.
But I think another, interesting. I think Taven Jackson's interesting. He's obviously not going to be QB2, at least at the start of the year, but he comes in with a lot of talent. He's a guy similar to Joe Milton. He doesn't have to come in and be the guy. He just gets a chance to be better than he was the day before kind of deal. There's not pressure on him. I just like you mentioned the QB room just with the two guys. I just think it gets a lot better with Taven Jackson too.
Well, yeah, and you're behind two leaders of this locker room and kind of learning from them for a year, and then you're kind of thrown into the competition. I think, like you said with Joe Milton, there's just not a lot of pressure on him. He was able to come in. He was an early enrollee, so kind of get the feel of the offense during spring practice. And then for fall camp, he was learning it and just trying to match that speed that they want, like Hendon Hooker and the rest of this offense to go. So I think they like Taven Jackson. I mean, I don't think they would have recruited him if they didn't like him. But it just seems like he's poised and, has the arm talent and, a guy that they, expect big things from. I think it's going to be interesting when he is, I think next year's competition is going to be intense. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and looking at this QB room, I kind of want to see what you think about it. You mentioned how you think it's one of the better QB situations in the country, and I do feel that way right now. As terms of, I legitimately believe you have three quality guys in there that could play at a high level. And I know that's asking a lot of a freshman. I'm not saying he could come in and be Hendon Hooker against Florida or even against Vanderbilt. I'm not saying that. I don't know that. I haven't seen him play at this level. But the fact that he gets to come in, you mentioned spring practice, summer, all through summer, and then a full fall camp of just learning. That makes me think that he's probably in a good situation himself. Are we maybe overhyping Milton and Taven Jackson a little bit because of how good Hendon Hooker played last year and the potential he has this year? Are we putting the entire QB room, or are we allowing Hendon Hooker to carry them? Or do we legitimately believe Milton and Taven Jackson can boost the room as a whole?
I mean, that's a good question. I definitely think Hendon Hooker carries it.
Yeah. I just mean, are we putting our hopes of Hendon Hooker kind of on the other guys too? Or let's look at the landscape of the SEC, for example. Let's just go conference. We don't have to look at country right now because, let's be honest, if they're the best in the conference, they're one of the best in the country. Is that room still as good as we think they are? Are we allowing Hendon Hooker, who should be, I mean, he's a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the league,
right? And
we're about him at 23 in the country. Are we allowing that to kind of carry the rest of the room? Or when you say Joe Milton, you believe he can come in and potentially not skip a beat just based on what we've learned. Like, do we believe that, I guess, is what I'm asking. Or you know what I'm saying? Is it Hendon Hooker carrying that conversation?
Yeah, I definitely think it takes a step back. I don't think it takes a step back where you lose games you shouldn't lose.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think Joe Milton's capable of beating South Carolina. He's capable of beating Vanderbilt, maybe even in Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky's a for sure loss if Joe Milton is your starting quarterback. Now, I hope it doesn't get to that point, and I I think the staff would think the same thing.
Right.
But if you do, I think this. You look at the LSU quarterbacks, Miles Brennan, Jaden Daniels, and that other guy that no one really knows of. I can't think of his name right now. It's like Musburger or something like that. It's not that, but it sounds like it. I just think that Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton are better than all three of those guys. Maybe Jaden Daniels better than Joe Milton, but that's the only one that I would say. Miles Brennan hasn't done crap at college.
That's what. Wait, Miles Brennan isn't with the team anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, he's gone.
Okay,
So now they're even better. But like when they did have those three quarterbacks,
right?
Like Kentucky. Who's Kentucky's backup quarterback?
Right.
Who knows? Is Nick that guy that was on QB1? Is he still there?
I thought it was no. Why do I think they got a? I don't know who it is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
100%. And when you look at and that's the thing too. Let's look at like a South Carolina with. I think Spencer Rattler is very, very talented. I will never deny that. I think there's more issues with him than his raw talent. But he's not in the same situation he was at Oklahoma.
No.
So how does he play with that? I think that puts him behind Hendon Hooker right now. I don't know how you could put Spencer Rattler with everything we know right now as above Hendon Hooker. At the very, very most, they're tied. Like you say, you're splitting that ranking at the very most. And
just going to Oklahoma, you're putting the Heisman race.
Exactly.
He's a lot to prove to me too.
For sure.
Does he have the talent? Absolutely, but
it's more about the talent around him though too.
Right. Yeah, and it's part of being that. What's he look like when he's not with Lincoln Riley?
Agreed.
Because I think he struggled with Lincoln Riley, and a lot of quarterbacks don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I like this QB room. I think it's going to be something that, definitely carries his offense, carries his team.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't think you aboard ship if Hendon Hooker does get injured. Now, I think he's going to, like he took some hits last year. He had to come out for a few times. That's happened with Tennessee's quarterbacks in the past, where we've had to start what was that kid from Texas that we started against Missouri?
Will McBride.
Yeah. We had
better than JG.
Yes, he did.
Played better than JG.
He wasn't scared to take a hit. I'll give him that. We had Brian Maurer played against Georgia. We've had to play some quarterbacks. I don't think it's anything like that if Hendon Hooker was to go down.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's a good kind of comparison of the recent history.
I think it only helps with having 4 of your 5 offensive linemen back and your leading receiver. That only helps.
And that goes, that kind of goes back to the Stetson Bennett stuff too, in terms of how you. What I say Spencer Rattler. Well, I was thinking
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I was like in my head, I was like, I'm thinking of Stetson Bennett, and I meant Spencer Rattler. That goes back to the Spencer Rattler thing. Hendon Hooker just has a lot more talent around him. The offensive line, guys to throw to, Jabari Small. It just looks a lot better. It's a cold world, Ryan Reed. What's up? It's a cold world, man. I miss you. I feel like we haven't seen you in a while. It's good to have you in here. Ryan, we missed you at the golf tournament. Hope you feel better. We also had a question. It went away. It was something about Tavian Jackson. I think it said, do we think we see him late in the Ball State game? I think it really depends on how quickly you get Hendon Hooker out of there. And then it depends on, after that, it's 2-part, what Joe Milton kind of looks like. I think if you go in, get him a lot of quality reps, I think there's a chance you see a drive or 2 from Tavian Jackson. Yeah,
I think that's a difficult part for me because, who are you getting ready for? Because Joe Milton has another year after this year anyway. So, are you going to – how are you looking at the future? Are you trying to get Joe Milton ready for next year? Are you trying to get Tavian Jackson, utilize those 4 games that he can play in without burning a red shirt?
I think it's way more likely just based on the quality of the teams. You see a drive or 2 from Tavian Jackson against Akron.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I think you try. I just think
you
Joe
can play.
Milton's going to get more reps.
You could probably play Joe Milton a quarter,
and
then have Tavian Jackson maybe or most of a quarter, and have a Tavian Jackson kind of just get in the game, get a feel for it, maybe throw a pass or two and kind of run the clock out and get out of there.
Yeah, I think if you see him, you're not going to see a lot from him because it's going to be very run-based offense at that point.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it is. I unless you have anything else for the quarterbacks, I guess let's talk about kind of the news today, because real quick at the running back room, talking running game. Do you have anything else for quarterbacks?
No, that's all I got. Yeah. Let's get to this.
Departure of Lynn J. Dixon. I mean, we don't know the reason. Whatever it may be, rumors just where he was at. He left. There's some other rumors about maybe he was asked to leave potentially. Here's the thing. I was excited to get a guy that had played at a level that Clemson's at. I thought it was good when you had Lenith Whitehead go down, but you're just where you're just where you're at with Lenith Whitehead, which wasn't a great place to be, but Lynn J. Dixon didn't 100% raise that room at that moment. So it's not great, but it also going back into a lot of people were concerned about him being potentially not good for the locker room. Well, you don't have that fear now if that is, if that fear was reasonable. So, I mean, I don't really know what to think so much about that situation. I'm kind of I was a little like, oh, crap when it happened, but I was also like, is it that big of a deal? I don't think so, because we talked about it. You wouldn't probably see him if you did until the Akron game.
Yeah, I mean, he might be that running back that plays with Taven Jackson.
Right.
So, I mean, he was fighting an uphill battle from the get-go, kind of getting here right at fall camp, trying to learn this offense that's, I think some guys, even during the season, had trouble learning this offense. It took them until the end to where you finally saw some guys because it was, it's pretty complicated to learn. You got the pass pro. You need to know where you're supposed to. These running backs are utilizing the passing game, the screen game as well.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it was an uphill battle, and he's kind of gone to a couple schools. So, what does that have to do? My thing is like, dude, you lasted all fall camp, and here we are at the season. This is where you get to have fun. Fall camp sucks. You made it through most of it.
And that's if it was legitimately just playing time, it's just really weird for me from his perspective. But listen, we a lot of people say don't call them kids. Well, they're still really young and they don't always make the best decisions. And I texted you about it. It's like, where are you going to go now that you play? Even if you go to like an FCS school, they're not going to be able to really get you in until you're not going to start getting legitimate playing time until almost October.
Yeah.
So if that was the reason, I just don't really understand it. If playing time was the reason, but it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely having 4 scholarship running backs and 2 of those being freshmen is not ideal. We had a question about this, and I kind of want to read that before I kind of get to my point, just because it was.
You write this question yourself using this to?
No, I did not. This is an actual question. So we tweeted the Vols running back room is thin, and I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, 4 running backs is not.
It doesn't, and it's not talent based at all. It's not. It's just It's thin. It's lacking bodies. I mean, that's just a fact.
So Titans_Vols, and this isn't a shot at him. I'm just reading what he said. He said, "I don't get the thin. You got Williams, Sampson, and Jalen Hyatt backing up small. I mean, was the dude actually going to start, much less play over 3 out of the 4? Other guys doubt it, so what's the big deal?" I mean, I kind of agree to a certain extent. Like, you probably don't see him a whole lot, but from a depth aspect,
that's it. Yeah,
you want to have more than that. You don't want to have to rely on 2 freshmen. Now, if you do, if they like played at that level, yeah, absolutely, you play them. But I don't think you want to have to rely on guys that necessarily wouldn't be ready for the moment.
Yeah, and I mean.
And with Jalen Hyatt being hurt most of camp, I think that like those 2 have to play.
Right. Yeah, and
now, I think you get Jalen Hyatt back, but like Jabari Small hasn't finished the season. He's hurt. He's pretty much injury prone. Now he's gotten bigger, and hopefully that helps out. But Jalen Hyatt, he was already dealing with something in fall camp, and then you got Dylan Santon. Then you got the 2 freshmen. So, again, going back to how difficult this offense is to learn. Now, it seems like both of those guys have, kind of earn the respect of this locker room and, probably earn some playing time. But I think Laneith Whitehead would have probably been your RB3. Now it's got to be a freshman.
Yeah, and not that it's kind of like the Taven Jackson thing, how we talked about it. Everything kind of points that there should be some success there, that, a lot of positives. But the fact is, they're freshmen, and you haven't seen them in a college football game. And I mean, like you said, going back to the depth thing, it's not about talent. It has nothing to do with that. It's literally just head count. What do you have in there? That's all it is. Someone mentioned there's rumors about Jimmy Callaway moving to running back. I think you almost have to find someone you can move to that position.
I have an idea of who it is.
Oh, okay. Who you got real quick?
I think it's Princeton Fan. I think he was at running back in 2018. He had 3 carries against ETSU. He's lined up in the H-back, so, maybe he's a heavy. He's 6'2", 235. So, if he's a heavy package guy, I think that can maybe be helpful.
Pass pro, too.
Pass pro, 100%.
That's big.
Yeah.
It's a cold world. Said ideally you want 5 to 7 running backs. I think 5 to 7 is just a lot based on. I don't even think it's about the number of running backs. I think if you have 4 seasoned running backs in there, you feel a lot better.
We played 5 last year.
Right.
Marcus Pierce was one of those 5. He was a walk-on. Tyron Evans, Laneith Whitehead, Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt was a freshman that you had to rely on last year. I mean, he was the one getting the last carry in the bowl game because of how, injuries and stuff like that took place. So, yeah, definitely not ideal from a depth aspect. I don't think it's a huge hit to the room talent-wise.
Right.
I don't know how much of a factor he would have been, but, yeah, if you needed a guy, you definitely like a scholarship running back other than a walk-on if you have to get to that point.
For sure. And for sure. And that's so that goes to the number 5 to 7. But again, I think I feel differently if we're talking about 4 seasoned vets in terms of depth. I really do. Now, obviously, if you have 4 seniors, then you're sweating next year. So you don't want that, or 4, 2 seniors and 2 juniors that are look like they're going to get drafted. You start sweating. And look, maybe we see them play against Pitt and Florida, and we completely change our mind, and we think there's plenty of depth in there. But like you said, injuries can still happen, and you could be going to 5, maybe 6 guy. I think
Laneith Whitehead got a ton of carries in Missouri. That was early in the season. You had to, go down that depth chart a little bit to find somebody.
Right. And so, I think Princeton Fan is definitely an interesting one. Thing that would suck about kind of seeing him line up is he's really only going to be short yardage situations probably. So if he's back there in a 3rd and 7, well, I mean, you should be throwing anyways. So I guess shouldn't hide it. If I see one more freaking draw on a 3rd and 7, I'm going to lose my mind in any team, not just Tennessee. But yeah, I think it's not the most ideal. I would like to see a guy like Jimmy Callaway have an opportunity to see if he can get on the field there.
Yeah, maybe. And I think this team likes Dylan Sampson and Justin Williams-Thomas. I think Dylan Sampson's had a really nice fall camp. I don't think Justin Williams has had a bad camp, but he was here in the spring and Dylan Sampson wasn't. So Dylan Sampson kind of come in strong, got to work, and I think those two have kind of fed off each other, getting more and more reps. So hopefully that's a good thing. You don't hit the panic button at all.
Right.
I think Jabari Small, if he's healthy, I think you're perfectly fine at that position. But if he's dealt with some injuries like he has the past 2 seasons, I think it could be maybe you do hit that panic button a little bit. Not from a talent aspect, just because like you go through so many running backs, just that workload and how many plays that we run and how fast it is. You have to play a lot of guys at that position.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
We do have a question. Another question about the running backs. John C. Vols says, who's running back 3 for this team now?
What? I don't even know if people covering practices could tell you that right now.
Maybe the staff could even tell you that.
Well, the thing is, too, is I don't think Lynn J. Dixon leaving changes that. I think
No.
still a question.
Yeah.
Ahead of that,
he
so-
wouldn't have been RB3 anyway.
Right.
I would probably go. I think it depends on the situation. Number 2.
Yeah, probably.
So, I think if it was just first down, new drive, you needed a third running back, I think you'd probably see Dylan Sampson.
Okay. And we've got a couple of comments in here with It's a Cold World. Justin Williams looks huge for a freshman. Excited to see him. I'm excited for both these freshmen. Like you just kind of pointed to earlier, you don't want to rely on 2 new guys.
Yeah.
That you haven't seen play college football. It's a Cold World. Jimmy Holiday is a versatile too, as a dual threat QB. I think that's another reason he probably knows he's got probably a good feel for any position on the field. And I think it just goes to, you do have your wide receiver room, you're not worried about depth. That's not a concern. And then Jeremy said Wright needs to get healthy. Yeah, you need all your running backs healthy. Because you need bodies in there.
Yep.
Which I think the right thing was more of like a nagging injury, just going to kind of monitor him going into camp. I don't think they were concerned with missing game time. I think it was more kind of precautionary thing to get guys healthy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we're not hitting the panic button. You still got your quarterback. You got your top 3 running backs, probably top 4 running backs right now. Again, I think this team as a whole is going to face depth issues all the way around.
Right.
We're just not to that point yet. Still kind of recovering from Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah. We saw him today. We're in Tennessee gear.
We did, yeah.
We did. I just need to clear that up. We didn't actually see him. Some people would probably believe that. There's probably going to be a Jeremy Pruitt was in Knoxville today tweet dropped just now. So
it could have been.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, who knows? We'll leave it up to determination then.
Yeah.
It's Cole World asked what's wrong with Wright right now. I think it's ankle, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think they gave an actual injury report of it, but yeah.
And he's kind of been back a little bit. He's not really doing contact or anything, but he is going through drills.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good sign. He's not off to the side just working
right
with the trainers and doing push-ups and sit-ups or whatever they're doing under
beach bod season.
Was it Butch Jones where he had that like the entire practice? They'd have guys just like lined up on the sidelines just doing abs and stuff.
I don't know what his injury regimen was for those guys. I do know that Jeremy Pruitt was all, if you're injured, you're still going to be dressed in full pads, which I do. At the college level, I don't know if I love the idea, just because it's like if you're at that level and you're trying to get out of practice, you aren't cut out for it, and you aren't ever going to be cut out for it. Yeah. I think it's a great idea for like high school football,
right?
Because there's plenty of kids that will try to get out of practice.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, they just want to wear the jersey on the sidelines without having to wear pads. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, college football, it's a little. I guess you are still kind of trying to work those guys, but man, your schedule's so. You played in Division II, and your schedule was football, and Division I, it's even more so. So it's just I don't hate it. Just it was weird how much everybody loved it, but I guess that was a Butch Jones problem. I was gonna say something else about. Oh. Did you? I've got a most important of the week. I'll go ahead and drop it now since we're talking about Butch Jones. Did you see the running helmets or the random helmets are back? Just all around the field. There's floating helmets now.
Oh, I didn't see that. No, what's going on?
It was just the Tennessee graphics team dropped it was a great picture of a helmet like floating, and then I saw a TikTok of them making it. And all I could think about was maybe just let's warn the players this time that helmets are floating and just in random places now, and give a heads up now this time.
Yeah, I saw a picture, and it was of a high school player, I think. And his helmet was just turned upside down, and he was just like facing the crowd, like facing away from the crowd. I'm like, I can only imagine what one of our coaches would have said to us if we had a helmet just laying up like that in the middle of the game.
Hey, where'd you get that shirt? I like it, by the way.
I got it at where did I get this shirt at? I think I got it at the Tennessee when they had that yard sale thing.
Oh wow, I've never seen that one before. I wonder where it was from.
I
mean, it's obviously like a sideline polo. It's got SEC on it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I kind of wonder if it's a tennis polo.
It might be.
It kind of looks Tennessee to me.
Like there's no
Tennessee.
It's just like that. Like it's like all the same material.
Huh. Okay.
So,
interesting. Yeah. Cool shirt. I like it.
Yeah, I just saw it in my closet. I forgot I had it. So.
Do they have any like other sports that you could tell there, or was it just football for sure?
No, there's basketball. Like I got a basketball practice jersey.
That's right. So yeah, I guess that's possible then. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. Well, let's move on to I don't know how long we'll stay in this, so let's definitely move on to it. The Bru McCoy situation, man, just a mess. And I think my only question is, so if you don't, just a kind of quick synopsis of this, and chime in if I'm telling it wrong or you need to add something. It is now Trey Wallace released an article. He reached out to USC for comment. They said they kind of wanted to stay out, and I think Austin Price followed it up with there were some half-truths in there. They wanted to kind of stay out of it, but they were going to leave it up to the NCAA, and they were going to do whatever they could to help Bru McCoy get eligible. Well, the kind of half-truths about that is they have the ability to sign, I can't remember the exact terminology what is, but sign a piece of paper that says eligible, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it'd be done.
It's a no participation opportunity form is what it is.
Yeah. Could sign that and it would all be over. He'd be eligible. And because the situation is not a great one, because if you don't know the Bru McCoy situation, there were some domestic abuse charges brought about. They were eventually, I believe, dropped. And he was suspended at USC during all of that. So I do kind of understand the situation there in particular. My question to USC, though, is this. If he was still at USC, would he be eligible to be on your football team? And if the answer is yes, you sign it. You're done.
I don't think he could have played at USC.
I think it was more of similar to some of the players that left here recently after the Jeremy Pruitt stuff was it's better to part ways. I don't think they had a reason to kick him off.
Okay.
I can go back and read to be sure, but I don't think there was a reason that I don't think he was dismissed from the school.
I just think that like the kid obviously needed a fresh start.
Right.
Why would you not, if you have the opportunity to just sign a piece of paper to let him have that, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and
especially after you freaking raided Oklahoma's
right.
roster and took them to USC. I mean, how stupid do you look right now?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and that's why the half-truth thing with we fully support. Well, you don't fully support because you have the opportunity to fully support, and you're not doing it. It's an interesting one, and like I said, I would
that last part of that quote sounds so conniving to me.
What was it?
The issue of Bru's eligibility ultimately rests with the NCAA, and we wish him the very best.
Yeah, that's bullcrap.
Yeah, I mean, it just says like, we're not going to do anything. If the NCAA wants to, go ahead.
Right.
We wish him the very best. That just, God.
Yeah. Which I guess the silver lining in this, though, is that if the NCAA has the ability to act now, whereas they did have to wait on USC.
Yeah.
So at least we are one step closer to an answer. It's just frustrating that USC has the ability to put it all to rest and they're not doing it.
Right. Yeah, and then you got to, rely on the NCAA to get that done. And,
God.
And until next Thursday, when has that ever worked out?
Right.
Again, maybe they're just a little upset that we've, benefited from some of their players, Bayless, Caleb Tremblay, Chase McGrath. But, I mean, if you guys would have utilized them, maybe they wouldn't have transferred.
Yeah, and in this world, if you're going to start holding grudges, man, it ain't going to work out for you in the future.
Right.
So,
I mean, good luck going to the Big Ten. You're going to lose to Ohio State and Michigan every year. So, again, I don't know why they're upset. They would never see us in a bowl game or God, let alone the college football playoff. We got a better shot at getting to the college football playoff than they do. So yeah, I just don't get it. It just seems like just so snobby. I don't know why you just act like that when you want to go and say, like, oh, we're for the all the kids. We're not going to play football this year because of the kids. I mean, good.
And then they
God.
still play football. So they lied about that too.
Right.
That's the best part.
So
yeah, it's Cold World. We always have this issue. We do. We have had this issue recently with a player. It's very frustrating. Hopefully this could, like you said, by next Thursday. That's 11 days away. I just don't see it happening, which is frustrating. But maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah,
maybe.
Here's the thing that I just don't get, and I would like to know, and maybe you might know this, but if they were, like, could they not have just said a while ago, like, hey, we're not signing it, let the NCAA take care of it?
Yes, that's another issue is that they talked about fully supporting. It seems I don't know the answer.
Like, have they just been like,
yeah, I'm right. Did they just find out yesterday that they were gonna have to either sign off or turn it over to NCAA?
Like, why didn't Tennessee just go straight to the NCAA? I guess is when it's gone on as long as it has, why have we not just gone ahead and filed it? Or
I don't know how much leverage.
Did we kind of push USC to finally release a statement? Because I mean, I tweeted at them.
A lot of people did. I don't know. And that's going to be something interesting if this becomes an issue. And it may be. I don't know if it's just Bru McCoy or other people are experiencing it. The previous school shouldn't be able to sit on this until 2 weeks before the game, before kickoff. So the NCAA's got to have a time set where they're like, all right, we're stepping in if you haven't answered in. We're 90 days out or 30 days out.
Yeah, like you need to have a timeline in there.
Right.
Yeah,
and they don't know.
You can't just sandbag a decision and hopefully it's not resolved before the first couple games. I mean, that's crap.
Very.
So yeah, hopefully it's resolved. From what I read today, it seems like Tennessee thinks it's going to be resolved. Yeah, it's just frustrating that literally they could sign a piece of paper and it'd be done.
Very frustrating. Very frustrating.
If I was Danny White, I'll schedule them right now. Hey, we're playing a scrimmage. It doesn't mean shit, but we're going to beat the brakes off you just because.
I like that.
Well, snake draft. Going back to the snake draft. I like doing snake drafts. Hey, we don't have anything else to do until the season gets here, so why not?
I like it. How are we going to turn first? Who was close to the pin yesterday? Me or you? Did you swing a club? You did swing a club.
I did.
Yeah. So do you want to do that?
Where did you hit it?
I was long and left. You might have gotten closer than me.
I was right. I was very close to the cart path.
I'll give it to you. I didn't see it, but I'll give it to you. I didn't hit a great shot.
I hit it pretty well. It went right, but I hit it pretty well. It sounded good off the club. How about that?
That's all that matters.
It would have been Oppo Taco for sure.
It probably would have been out in Lindsey Nelson. That's the good news.
Yeah. Oh, for sure it would have. Breakout player for me. I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt. That's going to be my first pick. I think he's set up nicely in that slot. I think with his speed, he's going to be utilized. And, if you're putting a linebacker on him, good freaking luck because he's going to have a field day on it. I just think he, with his different mindset and his work ethic and ability that he's came in this offseason and really established, I think that's only going to carry him. And it seems like Hendon Hooker and the rest of this offense is excited for Jalen Hyatt to really, live up to the potential that he's had since he got on campus. And I just think he's going to be able to be more physical. He's put on some weight, and I think that's going to carry him a long way in this league. And they want to push the ball down the field. There's no better player in the slot than Jalen Hyatt to run past some DBs.
For sure. It's a great 1-1. That was going to be mine. So, great 1-1. I'll go. I'm gonna go Kamal Hadden. My
Okay.
next one. I just think this is a guy that I thought he had a lot of bright moments. I don't think they were necessarily all bright when he came in, but a lot of bright moments. But you're also looking at a guy that he didn't play a ton last year. Just kind of the nature of who you had in front of him. But then he steps in, and pretty much from the spring, he's been one of your guys on the outside the whole time. Just hadn't really let go. And so I'm looking for him to have a big year for that defense. We talk about who's going to kind of support in the secondary, who's going to be able to kind of wreak havoc, create chaos, maybe some turnovers. I think it's him. Talk about a guy that can play physical to replace a guy like Alontae Taylor. And again, I think he's a candidate to be that person. So I'm going Kamal Hadden for my first breakout player.
Yeah, and he's a rangy corner. He's pretty long, pretty tall. So yeah, I'm interested to see him and how he plays. He looked like you could see the potential there in that bowl game. I know that, when we look back at that bowl game, we're like, how can you say that? Those DBs look terrible. But if there's one kind of positive about that, it just seemed like he's young,
right?
But it seemed like the potential was there for him to really be a breakout player this year. So I like that one. My next one is going to be Cooper Mays.
Whoa! This is a snake draft, my friend.
Oh,
this is a snake draft.
You can take
my
that
next one is going to be Cooper Mays. I'm just kidding. My next one is going to be a guy we talked about last time we did position previews, and maybe it's cheating a little bit because last year may have technically been his breakout year, but I'm going Jacob Warren.
Okay.
I thought he got more targets kind of as the year went along. I thought he did a better job downfield. He's a big physical guy that can help you in pass protection, in run blocking, but again, can also catch. And we talked about it with tight ends. Getting them involved is going to move this offense along a lot more. And I think it's a guy that gets involved this year with Golish being play caller and your tight ends coach. So I think Jacob Warren is due for a big season.
I like that because you mentioned this should be his breakout year, and he had 3 touchdowns, like 200 yards last year. So if he's able to, let's double it at least.
I like that. I might have been cheating a little bit. But I think there's more. I think there's more left in the tank. I do.
Okay, I like it. My next one is going to be Cooper Mays, just because he's played since he was a freshman a little bit. He played like fullback, I guess, on the heavy package. He wore like a 90 number. But he's dealt with some injuries. He dealt with one last year. That's why Jerome Carvin had to move over to center. But I like for him to stay healthy this year and really take control of that offense and that offensive line. And I just think he's like, I know Cade was nasty, but you got to be a different kind of nasty when you're a center.
Oh, yeah. So you got to be real mean.
Yeah.
I actually watched a video of today of Jeff Saturday and Peyton Manning getting into it on the sidelines when he's mic'd up. Peyton's mic'd up. I saw that video today. So
that's awesome. But yeah, you're not as big as the rest of the O-line usually, and you got to kind of know where everybody's going, and because you don't really have somebody lined up right on you very much, so you got to know where to go every single time. And I think he was a kind of a steal for the staff. I know when Cade Mays was coming here, it was like Cooper's coming here too. But, I think it's kind of like the who's Herring, Elijah Herring. You're like, oh, you get Elijah, you'll probably get Caleb. Like Caleb is a higher ranking, but I think they're ecstatic about Elijah Herring as well. So kind of that same thing, kind of flipped the older one. I really like Cooper Mays and what he brings to the table this season.
For sure. I like that one. Your third?
My third is Christian Charles.
Ooh,
and I like how you said Kamal Hadden, because I don't know who's going to be the starting two. Warren Burrell is going to be in there. It's probably Christian Charles and Kamal Hadden, or D. Williams probably as well, but Brandon Turnage also. But Christian Charles he was that freshman that was kind of all over the field. He started, I think, against Missouri, had that big block punt against Pitt. So you saw the potential, and everybody talked about how smart he is and how athletic he is. And, him playing safety last year and just moving over to corner and even competing for a starting position is pretty insane.
Yeah.
as a sophomore, he dealt with some injuries last season and didn't see a lot when he got back. I think that thing just kind of lingered a little bit. But I definitely think he's going to impact the secondary, and hopefully he can be a guy that isn't a racer.
Yeah, I really like the speed he
athlete.
plays with. Yeah, I love the speed he plays with. I think he's a big-time presence in the secondary for that reason.
Yep.
I like that one. My last one, I guess our last one. Are we doing 3? I think we did 3 last time.
Okay. Yeah, just 3.
My next one's I'm going to go back to the wide receiver position and going kind of back to Bru McCoy's eligibility. This guy really comes into play. I mean, potentially as a starter. He's quietly been talked about, murmured might be the right word, and it's Ramel Keaton. He's gonna get targeted a lot this year just because Tennessee's not just gonna play 3 wide receivers. Talk about how fast this offense playing, it's just not possible. I think Ramel Keaton's a guy that's gonna have to slide in a lot. I think he's a guy who throughout his years here has shown a lot of flashes too. Now he's gonna get a chance to get targeted often, and I really like his ability. So I'm looking at him to maybe be I don't know how you really list them in terms of, after 3. Like, I don't know how you go 4 to 6, but I think he could be your 4th most targeted guy. I think there's really potential for that, especially if Bru McCoy's not playing, potentially higher than 4.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one.
So,
love it.
I think
we'll see what happens.
I think we were really high on Ramel Keaton after his sophomore year. I think he had a big year. I think that's when he showed his most flashes. Mm-hmm. We were high on him. So I'm maybe rolling that over a little bit.
Yeah, I just think it's like I know Cedric Tillman doesn't get a lot of praise for his speed. I think he's kind of underrated speed wise, and I think Ramel Keaton's kind of in that same boat. I don't think he's as fast as Cedric Tillman.
No, he's much more range. He's got range. He's got length.
Yeah, I think that kind of holds him back a little bit. That he's not the tallest and he's not the fastest either. He's kind of that just in between. And with this offense, I think you kind of need to be one or the other, or both.
I think there's a third option, and I think it's being able to find space.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's like a safe target. I don't think he's going to run by any receivers, but he is a guy that can go up and get the football. And
there's not a.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about drops with Ramel Keaton.
Right. There's not a place that he'll be your number 1 wide receiver for sure. And that's not. I guess that's different from potentially the other 2 I listed off. But I think he'll be a big. I think he'll be a contributor for the wide receivers. Take away the word big, because that's maybe hard to do with a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who the guy, like if Bru McCoy is not eligible, who's your first guy? Is it Walker Merrill? Is it Jimmy Holiday? Is it Ramel Keaton? Mm-hmm. Jimmy Callaway, maybe. I know he's kind of a slot guy, but could he be thrown out there as well? I'm interested to see that. I think you're going to play a lot of guys. I don't think it'll be like last year where you only play 3 and Jalen Hyatt kind of sparingly. I think you're going to spread it around and really get to see a lot of these guys and see what you got.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get to segments.
We'll do it. Most important. I've got 4. Well, 3 now. I took away one, I believe. Yeah, it's been a big week. My first one, man, the combination. Maybe I might be stealing one from you, but 2 Vols still wearing orange. John Kelly Jr. and Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, he made a lot of good plays in the Browns game today. That was fun to watch. Getting a Tennessee guy. So, and then that John Kelly run was just so nice. It was just patient and great vision, and then cut up field big. Yeah. So it was fun to see them doing it on. I know it's preseason, but doing it on a bigger stage.
Yeah. My first one is Tennessee 2022 baseball team. Getting a documentary. That's what.
Was that confirmed?
That's what Trey Lipscomb said.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
He did say it. Okay. I saw it was maybe like hinted at. Yeah. I'm shocked.
I don't know. I don't know if they want anybody that maybe heckled some outfilders of opposing teams. If they want any of that, we got you.
Yeah. How do I get it set up for an interview in this documentary?
I'm sure my dad's going to be on there every home game. He's on the TV. So
I would even say let's interview him before me. I don't know if you want to give up your spot, but
yeah, I mean he's way cooler than me. So he's got better hair too.
Definitely has better hair than me. So yeah. My next one is we're going a little north for this one. The guys at ETSU, great media day. They even got to I don't know if you can see. I should have sent this to you to put on. I showed it to Landon earlier. If you hit and just, I think it was Oldro Sports on Instagram, a nice keg stand, Gatorade keg stand though. It's a beautiful photo. I don't know if the school can officially use it, but would be a great photo to use after wins.
Dude, offensive linemen are awesome.
The best.
Like that video.
Maybe Brett was right. Maybe we did have the wrong guys.
Jordan, is it Tamu or something like that? Mm-hmm. And all of his offensive linemen are following him around.
Yeah.
Like checking his food and stuff.
That was when Matt Luke was coaching.
Yeah. That was an awesome video.
For sure.
Man, most important. Did you see the Big Ten's deal with Fox, CBS, NBC, and Peacock?
Absurd.
$7 billion.
I will say this. At least I get to see more football on TV. So, but it's an absurd deal.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't have any more most importance. That's kind of all I got. I do have one more from Mandy Hack. Mandy got hacked. Amanda826 says
that's her Instagram, sorry.
Yeah, my most important is recovery after a long week of work or exercise, drinking water, and stretching. Oh, she also has a fail in here. You want me to go ahead and read it?
Yeah, let's go fail. Let's jump to fail.
Oh, my dad's here.
Oh, heck yeah. There he is. Coming up on the 2022 baseball documentary.
Yeah, he'll be there for sure.
What a guest. That might be the best guest we've had on the pod.
It might be. He's up there for sure. She also has a fail. You want me to go ahead and read that?
Yeah.
She said fail of the week is traffic around campus for move-in weekend. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Don't
envy that at all.
My first fail is Patrick Reed suing Brandel Chambly for $750 million for defamation.
Nice.
Just an absurd number and an absurd lawsuit. I don't know. If you haven't read about it, go read about it. It's hilarious. Some of the words used in it, the wording in the lawsuit is very funny. Trying to find. I thought I had a screenshot of one. I think the lawyer compared him to Tiger Woods. So,
nice.
Yeah, that Patrick Reed, huge dickhead, good player, not a Tiger Woods ever.
There's a lot of I feel like golf is. It's very just kind of like. A lot of it seems like so even keel, but there's a lot of drama with golf.
There's more drama with the Live Tour recently for sure.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
there's a lot of ego. I mean, just like
even yesterday, it was like pace of play. People were mad about that. You know.
Oh, you're talking just.
Could you play music? Like, could you not? Yeah. Like, it's just like everybody has like their way to play, I guess, and.
Right.
I guess like you're just constantly like having to, kind of dictate that based off like who's in front of you, like who's behind you, and maybe who you get paired up with, things like that.
Yeah, there's definitely some like that. I mean, and I think there's too. It's not as black and white as a lot of people want to make it out to be. Like going into like the music stuff and like music, as long as you're playing it where it's not like obnoxiously loud and stuff like that. As long as your pace of play is on. Which it was a little slow yesterday, but it wasn't absurdly slow. Like I think we finished up like 10 minutes later than we should have. Like it's not ruining my day slow. So because I play fast. Like I played in
that they were pissed.
Yeah, that group was slow. I got lucky where I paced out the way the shotgun start happened that I never got bothered by that. So I think there were like 2 or 3 groups that got held up because of them. But yeah, and I played the same course an hour faster the other day, but we play fast. We had no one in front of us, so we were able to. But yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes you gotta go with the flow. Some people can't go with the flow, but yeah, that group had a reason to be pissed for sure.
Yeah, my next one is the WNBA All Rookie Team. So, a girl got All Rookie Team, and these are her stats: Points per game, 0.4. Rebounds per game, 0.2. Assists per game, 0.3. Steals per game, 0.3. I mean, did they just not play rookies?
I guess. Congrats, sir.
I'm like,
seems like a
good God.
steal.
Yeah, I feel like I could maybe do that in like I couldn't probably do that in an NBA game, but I would probably get close. I'd probably get a couple assists in there at least.
I think I can get an assist. I just got to throw it to the right guy.
Right, yeah. He has to do all the work, but yeah, I can get that up a little bit. But yeah, it was – I'm like, are we just giving these out? Like, what?
Right.
What is this?
Love it. That's all I've got.
I got one more, and it's Florida State. They're a fickle offer. Or a official offer. Did you see this?
No. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was thinking. I thought you said Florida State. Okay. Florida had a misspelling too, so I thought maybe they had another one.
Gotcha.
I think they spelled recycling wrong. The Jumbotron last year. Yeah. So I saw that one too.
But it's like this is your official offer, and it is spelled wrong.
I think it also mentions that they're one of the top academic schools in that offer.
Yeah, it does.
And they misspelled it. Yeah, that's not good.
Top 20 academically. Incredible. Love it. I mean, I saw something today about this, and it was just like, I mean, Florida State acts like they want to be back. If they want to be back, it's the little things like making sure official is spelled right on somebody's official offer.
Yeah, you don't want those hit pieces to, be followed up with bad social media. And they've never had bad social media before. They've never made a graphic of someone, for example, like Martin Luther King Jr. doing the Florida chop for MLK Day. So they've never done anything like that, at least. That's good. So the graphics department's doing okay.
Yeah, it's not their first rodeo.
I don't know how I came up with that idea. That just hit me. So they should not do that for future reference.
You have a great mind, Caleb. All right, well, guys, Game of Thrones tonight.
Game of Thrones, guys. Thanks for listening. It's been fun. Again, thanks to the Hacker Cup, Hackers Club, Alchemy Cigar.
Yeah, University Traditions also.
Absolutely.
Hitting us up with some hats, and hopefully we got them some sales this weekend. I think we did. So
at least a few.
Yeah,
a handful.
But yeah, that's all we got, guys. Tomorrow will be 10 days. We're getting close to single digits. Next Thursday, we'll be kicking off in Neyland. Super excited. I don't know where we'll be, but if you got a spot, you want us to swing by, hey, we'll be there.
Yes.
That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.